Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, forget about ghosts and movie monsters for a minute. Today we're digging into those true horror stories you see all over the internet. You know the ones. They're so chilling because they tap into this deep, universal fear. What happens when your normal, everyday world suddenly becomes a nightmare?
Let's start right here, with this line from a story about a late-night walk. I mean, this is it, right? This is that exact moment we've all felt. That little alarm bell in your head that says something's not quite right, but curiosity, or maybe just not wanting to believe it, pushes you to take one more step forward anyway.
So what we're going to do is break down 3 of these first-hand accounts, one from a walker, one from a Lyft driver, and one from a homeowner. And as we do, you'll see this incredibly effective 3-part formula emerge. It's a formula that I like to call the anatomy of dread.
At the heart of all this is a concept we can call mundane horror. The terror here doesn't jump out of a closet. The terror is the terrifying idea that the closet itself, or the street you walk down every day, or the car you drive for work, that these perfectly safe, normal spaces are hiding something awful. Okay, so the first piece of this puzzle is the setting. Every single one of these stories kicks off somewhere totally, well, normal. It's a routine moment in a place where the main character feels completely safe. And it's that very sense of security that's about to be shattered for good.
And this right here shows you just how thin that line is. A walk to de-stress suddenly turns into a chase. A totally normal Lyft shift ends up on a dead-end road. A quick run for takeout leads to realizing someone's in your house. The horror doesn't build up, it just ruptures the routine.
And look at how fast things can escalate. For the Lyft driver, we're talking about 30 minutes. 30 minutes is all it took to go from a slightly weird job request to a life-and-death situation. There's no slow burn here. The nightmare just shows up. This line from the homeowner who saw a light on, I think this is so fascinating. It points to something really crucial about our psychology. Our brains are wired to explain things away, right? We see something wrong, and we almost want to dismiss it, because the alternative is just too scary to think about. So why is this so effective? Well, here's the thing. By starting the story in a world we all recognize, it doesn't just make us feel scared for the narrator. It makes us scared for ourselves. All of a sudden, our own quiet house or our own late-night drive feels just a little bit less safe. All right, let's move on to part 2 of the formula, the antagonist. Now, in these stories, the thing in the dark isn't some supernatural creature. No, it's always another person. But it's a very specific kind of person. What makes these people so terrifying is actually everything they're missing. They have no motive you can understand. They look completely forgettable, just a person in a gray hoodie or dark clothes. They seem to materialize out of thin air, and their behavior is just so random and hostile, it breaks every social rule we count on. When the Lyft driver is staring down the barrel of a gun, this is the detail that sticks with him. Not anger, not panic, but a dead look. It's that total absence of any recognizable human emotion that is just so deeply unsettling. You're looking at a person, but there's nothing you recognize looking back. And then you have the homeowner story, which adds this other horrifying layer, this weird, twisted sense of familiarity, a smile that's not friendly, an approach that feels personal when it absolutely shouldn't. It's like they're putting on a performance of being normal, and it is just so wrong. So it really makes you wonder, right? If these aren't ghosts or monsters, what are we actually afraid of when we hear these stories? What's the real threat? The real horror here is randomness. It's the chilling realization that someone can decide to terrorize you for no reason you will ever be able to understand. And that idea, it just shatters our basic assumption that the world makes sense. If someone's actions are unknowable, then anyone could be a threat. And, well, anyone could be a victim. And that brings us to the third, and honestly maybe the most crucial part of this whole formula. It's the part that makes these stories stick in your brain long after you've clicked away. You see, the story isn't over just because the main character got away. The aftermath follows this really haunting pattern every time. The bad guy just melts into the night, the police come up with nothing, and the narrator is just left alone with this new profound sense of vulnerability. The physical danger might be gone, but the real damage is just getting started. The man who went for that walk, now he's haunted by phantom knocks at his door. The person who followed him might be gone, but they've permanently poisoned the one place he should feel completely safe. His home isn't a sanctuary anymore. The Lyft driver literally couldn't do his job anymore. He got so paranoid that every ping from that part of town sent him into a panic. This random encounter didn't just scare him, it cost him his livelihood. It completely changed the direction of his life.
And this quote right here, this captures the absolute core of it. The homeowner is stuck with this terrifying fact. The person who broke into his house, who hid in his closet, is still walking around out there, and he has no idea why. There's just no closure.
So, when you put it all together, you get this incredibly powerful structure. You start in an everyday setting, you introduce a human threat that's completely impossible to understand, and then, crucially, you offer no resolution. That combination is what turns a simple campfire story into something that creates real, lasting dread.
And really, this whole anatomy of dread leaves us with one final, pretty unsettling question to think about. Because if the most terrifying monsters look just like everybody else and can show up for no reason at all, where, in our perfectly normal world, are you ever truly safe?
Thanks for watching.